Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to the December 2024 Qualifier Play-In Event. This is going to be best of one Magic Foundation sealed with a goal of hitting 6 wins before 2 losses. If you can accomplish that, you do qualify for the upcoming Qualifier Weekend, which is best of 3 Magic Foundation sealed. You only get one shot at it. If you lose out of that event, there's no retries anymore. But if you can get through day 1 of the Qualifier Weekend and day 2 of the Qualifier Weekend with a ton of wins in a row, then you do qualify for the upcoming Arena Championship and Pro Tour events. So the big major events with huge cash prizes. So really cool event here where anybody on Arena, if they play super well, get super lucky, and get a nice long win streak, can go all the way to the Pro Tour. Really cool idea for these events. And what I love about them is that these are your opportunity to turn your extra play-in points that you get by hitting top 1500 Mythic in the previous month into actual cold hard gems. No matter how many wins you get, even if you scrub out with 0 wins, you're going to get some amount of gems back out of the event up to potentially 6,000. So cool event. That is everything you need to know about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bust open these packs and see what we get to play with today. All right, well, we get to play black. Oh my god, double Celestial Armor as well, and Exemplar of Light. So a black-white deck with Phyrexian Arena, 2 Celestial Armor, Exemplar of Light, Bloodthirsty Conqueror, and Liliana. There's also a Kiora, an incredible blue rare. Krenko's pretty strong in red. Replication's a bit expensive, but can take over the game, and Niv Mizzet probably the weakest of our rares, just because there's not a whole lot of building a really synergistic deck in sealed. You're at the mercy of whatever you open, so the odds of us having opened a bunch of like burst lightnings to shoot our opponent in the face and try to draw a bunch of extra cards is not super likely. So, I mean, insane stuff out of the black and the white, though. This is really, really strong rares. All we gotta hope for is to just have some decent commons and uncommons in those colors, and then our deck will really build itself. But let's go ahead and do like we always do. Check out our multicolored and colorless cards. Oh my god, if we have a good black-white life gain deck, we are just off to the races here with this build. We've got the Fiendish Panda and a Scoured Barrens for fixing. We've got Bloodfell Caves for splashing red, but I think the only color that looked particularly good to splash was blue, trying to splash in a Kiora. Red doesn't have a Burst Lightning or anything to splash in. It's got 1 Fiery Annihilation, so that is worth considering, but just the 1 Bloodfell Caves and no colorless fixing. I guess we could play a 1 of Campus Guide, but that's pretty mediocre fixing because you have to draw a land in your next turn now, which is potentially flooding yourself a bit. Yeah, and these other colorless spells are just completely unplayable. I don't think we splash Heroic Reinforcements, although that is good for Boros aggro. Yeah, not a ton going on. Multicolored and colorless, it's really that Fiendish Panda that's got me super excited. But let's check out how all of our colors look here. I am very sad about the number of cheap creatures in our white, but we have a good amount of life gain thanks to our double Felidar Savior and Dazzling Angel to trigger our Exemplar of Light, so I'm into that. We also have a million flyers. We have literally 6 4-mana angels. We probably can't play all of them, but we also have Celestial Armors for even more flyers, so hopefully our black has a bunch of good 2-mana creatures, really. But our white even has removal. Banishing Light for sure. Stroke of Midnight is much more mediocre, but probably borderline playable and sealed if you're really low on removal. But it is worse than a 1-for-1. So generally 1-for-1s aren't the greatest in limited. That's when you spend 1 card to deal with one of your opponent's cards. That's like a Banishing Light. It's like, I will discard a Banishing Light so that you discard your creature off the board, in essence. Card advantage wise. Stroke of Midnight is worse than that because you're like, I will discard Stroke of Midnight so that you discard that, but also you keep a 1/1, so you keep one of that card's power and toughness around for later. So not very good, but still, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Just having that in case they have some insane mythic might be a thing if we have like literally no black removal, but I assume hopefully we can have a little bit of better black removal to play. Blue looks pretty mediocre. The Kiora is pretty huge, and that's about it. I mean, double Special Sailor is also pretty good, so that's kind of spicy. Okay. Literally no removal in black. How does that even happen? Okay, that is a massive bummer. There is no removal in black, but it has the cheap creatures double Burglaret, Infestation Sage, and Sanguine Siphoner to make up for the lack of cheap creatures in white. Reassembling skeletons aren't going to be the greatest, but they can sit there and buy us time to get to a Liliana or Bloodthirsty Conqueror or something. We've got more life gain triggers thanks to the Sanguine Siphoner, so that's nice. But that's the only life gain synergy card there. We did not open the infinite combo with Bloodthirsty Conqueror. There's a 3-mana vampire at common in this set. That is whenever you gain life, each opponent loses that much life. If you stack those two cards together, you immediately win the game. But this is still another really strong life gain card, which will play super well in black-white, so our curve is going to be awkward, and we have really low removal. I'm going to have to play Stroke of Midnight, but I still can't imagine another color pushing me out of this black-white color pair with the amount of power that we get out of this color pair. Check out our red now. Red has literally one removal spell, and that's the most exciting thing there. And green has two removal spells that are both pretty narrow because you have to have a strong enough creature on board to kill theirs. So our removal in this sealed pool is miserable no matter what color pair we play, so sure, our deck's not going to have a lot of removal, but it is not like it would have more if we played any other deck in this sealed pool. I may actually have to go Campus Guide because I want more 2-drops, and it lets us splash in one more removal spell, which we're insanely low on. We get to play the Fiery Annihilation and the Bloodfell Caves here, and Bloodfell Caves is actually pretty solid fixing for this deck because even if we don't need the red mana when we draw it, we could draw it at a time when we have a Fiendish Panda or an Exemplar of Light on board and still get value out of just gaining the life off of that thing. So I think we actually do just go for the red splash here, although I think it is just going to be one mountain. Bloodfell Caves, because that'll be 3 red sources. Because Campus Guide counts as 1. Alright, so we have tons of power high up on the curve with the Conqueror, the Liliana, the Exemplar of Light kind of stuff, so I think we just want to cut out a lot of the... I just have so many 4-drops, like none of these flyers are bad at all, but we have just so much of them, so many of them, that I think we can cut some. I think we can go really high creature count here, potentially cut Macabre Waltz when we have 2 Soul Callers doing a very similar thing, picking up our best creature from grave when we play them and immediately impacting the board. So I think we can cut the Waltz since we have double Soul Caller. If we didn't have any of them, having a little bit of graveyard recursion would still be exciting. But I think we can drop that. Let's go like maybe like 1 and 1 of these angels. Even that is a bunch of 4-mana stuff to do, so we might still want to cut more. I don't think we're a super combat tricky deck. We just survive to the late game and then play bombs, so we'll drop the Fleeting Flight. Plus, if we wanted combat tricks, Celestial Armors are taking up 2 combat trick slots. Curve is awkward here. We don't have any skeleton synergies, so that is just going to be buying us time to get to the late game, which I think we can do just trumping with 1/1s and 2/1s and stuff, all these other cards. So I'll drop those. 3 more cuts to go. Maybe we do have to cut the 4-mana flyers, maybe even one of the Soul Callers here. Not the best Blood Thief deck either, especially if I cut some of the Soul Callers. We're definitely keeping Dazzling Angel for life gain synergies, Prideful Parent and Plunders for good blocks, plus Plunders in a deck with a bunch of bombs is really, really good. Since it digs you towards them, it mills the lands, hits the bombs. We're definitely not cutting a land here. We have an insane 6-drop, and we need 4 mana every game. Turn 4, pretty much. At least 3 on turn 3 every game. And every removal spell is 3 mana. Every non-creature spell is 3 mana. We need 3 lands turn 3. Such a high curve, honestly, probably wouldn't be insanely unreasonable to even go for like a 18 land deck, but I'm not quite going to do that. So yeah, I think we're just cutting 3 of these cards that we've set aside here. I think between double Celestial Armor, Bloodthirsty Conqueror, Liliana, Exemplar of Light, our power level is so high we don't really need to recur any of our bombs to be winning the game, so I would rather cut down a little bit more on these higher mana value spells and actually drop the Soul Caller, maybe even both of them. If I drop both Soul Callers, that gives me a really good excuse to drop a Blood Thief here, because that was really the only card that works super well with it. Yeah, Soul Callers and a Blood Thief. And then I can play these two angels, or because I got rid of all of my graveyard recursion, I could put the Macabre Waltz back in instead of one of these two. And I wouldn't hate that, because even just like waltzing back a Burglar Rat or something is maybe okay in the early game. And we do fill the grave a lot with Double Plunderer. It's interesting. I wonder which is better, Seraph or Angel. If I play one of these in a Macabre Waltz, like what's the creature count to? Yeah, it's like 16 creatures. We'll still have a 15 creature deck cutting a Seraph or an Angel. Or I guess since I'm literally just cutting one of these for a piece of Graveyard Recursion, I could also just play one of the 4 mana ones and one of the 5 mana ones. Still play the one Soul Caller, but not do the whole Blood Thief synergy thing for it anymore. Yeah, let's go like one Soul Caller, one 4-drop flyer. I don't know. I think a deck this bomby can get a lot of value off Surveils, so I will play the Vanguard Seraph, although it is one less toughness than the Angel of Finality. So the Angel of Finality, I think, is probably more consistently good, because if you don't end up getting value out of this ability, and you don't end up getting value out of the Angel of Finality's ability, then the Angel of Finality is just better. It's just the sturdier creature. So that's the big argument that way. I think we're probably equally likely to get value out of either of these abilities. Our opponent is not going to be insanely likely to have great graveyard abilities, but if they do, Angel Finality helps out, and we're not insanely likely to be gaining life every time we're playing the Seraph, but if we do, this will help out. I think this ability is really good in a bomby deck, though, the Surveilling, so I'll go for the Vanguard Seraph here, but pretty close between the two. I think this is pretty much exactly how we want to run this build. It's an exact 11-11 split in the one red spell, so we have an exact split on our colors. Actually, we're leaning black here. We have one more black source than white sources. I guess all of our early creatures are black creatures, so that makes sense to me to lean a little bit heavier on black because we need that swamp in the opener. The white sources we can hit later. We've only got the one double white spell, but we actually have 3 double black spells as well. So yeah, there's multiple reasons to run just a single more black source than white sources. Looks like about as good a mana base as we can build in this sealed pool. I would certainly prefer to have opened up a little more removal, a little bit better defenses for the early game, either good cheap creatures or good cheap removal spells like Stab. So that is a pretty big flaw of the deck I'm a little concerned about. And the mana base as well is pretty awkward. We went for a splash to get a 3rd removal spell in here, which is embarrassing, just to get a 3rd removal spell, not even like a 5th or anything like that. We have to splash red. So yeah, the mana base is concerning. The early game defenses are not that great, but wow is the bomb power here. This is certainly the best 2-color pair in the sealed pool, and I think the splash for red is reasonable with the lack of removal. So this is the deck that we're going to roll with. So without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay and see how it does. All right, here we are for game 1. Already having issues with our mana base, but we are again on like 9 black sources, so even if we were a 2-color deck, we could draw a hand like this. Unfortunately, a hand like this I think is a guaranteed mulligan. Celestial Armor, when we don't have anything to put it on, is not going to be good, and we need the black source to play any of these spells because we can't play armor without a creature. Yeah. Sad to start with a mole, but it is what it is, and this hand is much better. We can ditch one of the Plunderers here so that I know I can go Parent into Felidar Savior a little more likely, just by hitting 1 land. And even if I can't, I've got a backup 3-drop to play. There's the Celestial Armor, not a bad one at all. Even if I don't hit mana, I've got all these. Black-white mirror match. There's another Felidar Savior. We hit that 4th land. We're saving it up here. Just juicing up all the cats. Hello, Cathar Commando. You play really poorly against Prideful Parent. Then there's the Healer's Hawk, which is solid. There we go. Good draw is good. Here's Felidar Savior. They could like stab a parent in response, which is also still a pretty good deal because we still got another creature out of the parent. We still got a counter out of the Savior. Yeah, I feel pretty far ahead right now. But it is very early. But yeah, even after the mulligan, getting the parent into the savior, getting that stab out of their hand, it's really making up for the mulligan. We might not be ahead, but we're at least tied when we should be a card behind. Don't mind that either. That's pretty fine. I'll have a 3/3 blocker thanks to Felidar Savior here. So the 3/3 blocker for the Infernal Vessel, the Felidar Savior for the Cathar Commando, and it's their 2 cards in hand versus my 2 cards in hand. They do get the first top deck here. Ooh, okay. Quick Draw Katana is actually pretty bad. Throwing that on the Healer's Hawk. Okay, snap trade. Okay. I can Celestial Armor and Gutless Plunderer here. I would like to trigger Raid, so I'm just going to attack here. Sure, we'll Celestial Armor and Gutless Plunderer then. And this should be pretty impossible for them to race. 4/3 Flying Lifelink. And the Katana doesn't do anything on blocks, so they can't block the Savior well either. Ooh, a Phyrexian Arena? Be a little bit bold, but I think it's better than Burglar Rat. I mean, I'm at 20. Got a 4-power Lifelinker. I take 3, but I gain 4 back. I can move the armor around later if I really need a blocker up. I don't think I'm doing that right now, though, because the Katana's going to make blocks pretty bad. Okay. Again, we're concerned if they draw removal for Felidar Savior, because shutting off our only Lifelinker would be sketchy. Oh my god, what a draw. Oh my god! I think I Exemplar gained a life, draw another card here. That genuinely just feels better than Liliana right now. It's pretty nuts. I'm going to play around a Burglar Rat here holding on to this land. They say good games, so they might be about to scoop them up, but I'm going to hold off on the GG because they could draw like a Day of Judgment or something. Maybe they're still in this, but Liliana probably wins it anyway. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is insane. They have 2 toughness? Yeah, they're over it. They're over it. So that is 1-0. We just drew like every bomb and played it. I guess we didn't. We have a second copy of Celestial Armor we didn't draw. This deck is explosive if we survive. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 2. It's very similar to the first game where we get to go Prideful Parent into Felidar Savior, but it's immediately got the powerful spells to follow that up, no matter how we draw. I highly doubt we're going to want to Arena, especially when they start with a Leyline Axe. But I was going to say, I doubt we're going to want to just play Arena turn 3 with no creatures on board yet. But now I've got a creature with this Campus Guide. Didn't hit a white source, so I can Campus Guide for that. To have double white for Exemplar. That will be a little awkward, actually, if I top deck my red spell, but I think it's worth it to guarantee Exemplar. Mana is at the ready. No creatures on their board? Are we starting with Phyrexian Arena? No shot, right? Just carving out aggressively is also just more valuable if they've got no creatures on board. Try to steamroll them before they can get this Leyline Axe on anybody, but that Leyline Axe is terrifying. +1/+1 double strike trample turns even a 1/1 into just winning. Oh my god, the Celestial Armor draw. And they missed land 4. Is this game becoming free? Kinda looks like it. Just a free win on that one, and we are 2-0 heading into game number 3. Here we are for game 3. We have Burglar Rat into Gutless Plunderer into Fiendish Panda. Don't love the Arena in this hand yet again. But if they're really slow and we get multiple blockers on board, it could be a thing. And we did hit the double black for it now. Blue-black's a generally slower archetype, but they can have a lot of flyers where the arena damage could hurt me a lot. Let's see. Flashing someone to kill Burglar Rat? No. I'd rather curve into Fiendish Panda, draw something good here, or just get the arena down. I think I'm just gonna keep doing arena as like the last thing I do. Once like we've got a stable board or something. I think I grab a flyer, right? I could grab this land to get towards Liliana, but I already have 5 out of 6. The flyer's just better when I have no life gain on board. Light Shell Duo. I'd rather hold off the potentially like 4 damage that this could do if they prowess it just once, than just deal 2. So I'm going to hold Plunderer back to block. Dreadwing Scavenger, that's a really good one. Draw a card, discard a card when you play it, and every time it attacks. And when they have 7 or more cards in grave, it's a 3/3 Death Touch flyer, which is wild. Okay, Liliana plus Phyrexian Arena is like super game winning. It's like a really good double team, so I'm just going to drop this arena down, conserve my life total, hold all my blockers up, and then drop Liliana, make them sack both creatures next turn. Unless they hold other mana up, then I'll play the Fiendish Panda instead. Oh yeah, this is going to be game ending. Liliana, your board's gone. -2, but I've got a Phyrexian Arena and a Liliana still hanging around. There's Annihilation for later. Burglar Rat. It's really good immediately.
I do hope you make this battle exciting.
Draw 2.
Give me strength.
Conqueror. This deck is filthy. They've got the Eaten Alive for the Liliana, but we've still got that Phyrexian Arena just trucking along for us.
Looks like you're on your own now.
Kind of like Fiendish Panda Bloodfell Caves here, weirdly. They've got 2 cards in hand. I definitely want to cast a Burglar Rat this turn. So I can Burglar Rat, and then I can go like Plains Bloodthirsty Conqueror. Or I can Burglar Rat, Fiendish Panda Bloodfell Caves. I think I'd rather go Fiendish Panda Bloodfell Caves, and then the turn that I play the Conqueror, play this a turn when I'm gonna be damaging my opponent, so that I get immediate value out of it, even if they just untap and play a sorcery speed removal spell on it. If I just slam it down right now, they could untap, kill it, I get nothing. But this way, play it, attack, get the life gain trigger, then they might kill it later. Alright, they've got the Soul Caller combo, but those can't block, and that means that the Bloodthirsty Conqueror is going to give me more than enough life gain to just never die to this Phyrexian Arena. And our opponent is in a really, really bad spot. Gain 5, Fiendish Panda trigger. Holding up Fiery Annihilation just in case, because I've already got an incredible board. I don't need to dig with Plunderer. I'm not going to block with Conqueror because it has such a great ability here. I don't want to put it at any risk to a fake your own death or anything. Or a stab. We've got well over enough life gain here to just not risk it. Infestation Sage. They're low enough on life I could Annihilation this Sage, so if I top deck any removal, they're dead. So I'm going to do that. It's a little bold, but I have, again, the Arena, I've got the Plunderer. Just in such a ridiculously good position here that there is almost no reason not to. Okay. Here I can just be incredibly rude. Burglar at their last card, which might just be a land, but just in case. Simplest thing to do. Oh my god, it was a tragic Banshee? Alright, so they go to 1 life now. Oh wait, no, this has flying. Never mind. They go to 5. But we gain 1,000,000. Counter up the Panda. That is 3-0, and these games have just been steamrolls. Our opponents probably very unhappy. We're just drawing bomb after bomb after bomb every game so far. A really, really strong sealed pool, a really lucky open here, really lucky pulls, but also pretty lucky draws so far, these first few games. All right, here we are for game number 4, and what makes this hand super keepable is the Campus Guide, weirdly enough, to make sure we're hitting at least 3 lands. But wow, yeah, Celestial Armor and Exemplar of Light in the opener. We don't have any life gain to go with the Exemplar. So it may not be the craziest thing. But we'll see. What are these sleeves? Oh, an anime artwork or something? Alright, immediately top deck a land. So do I lead Burglar Rat or still just put the white source on top? Still need double white for Exemplar. I guess I still just put the white source on top. If I lead Burglar Rat, then if I top deck a white source, I can Campus Guide for the red. But if I lead Campus Guide and they don't have a 2-drop creature in hand, I get more damage in, which is relevant. Oh, they do. And it's pretty gross against Campus Guide. Celestial Armor into the skies? No way. Yeah, we just have to grind it out a long one here. Just drop Burglar Rat and pass. There are positions where it's right to just start getting flying damage off Celestial Armor. I don't think on a 2-1 it is. I mean, a 4-1 flyer is a must-be-killed threat. But we're really early in the game. They haven't had to cast any removal. They've still got almost their whole opening hand there, so then they could just respond with, like, Stab or Eaten Alive or anything like that. And that's way less value than we could have gotten on a Celestial Armor later to counter one of those spells. Okay, Raid Trigger from our opponent. Gutless Plunderer? Yeah, Gutless Plunderer. We can attack into that thing, so that is fine. Fills their grave with some nonsense and puts the best card on top of their deck for them to draw next turn. Apothecary Stomper in the grave might be relevant. Probably not, but maybe. There is some Graveyard Recursion in the set. There's a lot of ways to pick up cards from your grave, put them back in your hand. Not a ton of ways to reanimate them onto the board. But I think they do exist. I remember right. 1 or 2. Alright, so Exemplar probably is our Lightning Rod for removal here, which is okay because we have no life gain in the hand anyway. It would be better to be able to have this Exemplar down and have the armor up, because just being able to armor in response to any removal spell is great, but we cannot reliably wait till we have 7 mana here. Go ahead and plunder me, get your raid trigger. No raid trigger, Exemplar remains. Let's go. Prideful Parent is the draw. They're at 18, we're at 17. Because I've got a Stroke of Midnight to cast if I don't Celestial Armor, I think it's better to hold up Celestial Armor than Prideful Parent. In worst case scenario, we just stroke the Shriek Mass when they make it a 4/4. Just lovingly caress it. Yeah, I'm starting to realize stroking it is a little bit of a concerning shorthand. opponent goes full rage mode. All right. I'll take 3. Sylvan Scavenging. I can stroke the Sylvan Scavenging or the Shriek Mass. That is a really hard choice. I think because I have Celestial Armor, I'm supposed to stroke the Scavenging. Because it's possible I stroke the Shriek Mass, they make something a 2-2, and then they just play like a 4-4 next turn, and that's pretty bad for me. But if I stroke the Shriek Mass, I am killing their only flyer, and then I can just try to outrace Scavenging with like a Flying Burglar Rat and an Exemplar of Light. Man, there's an argument either way, but I'm going to stroke the flyer now that I put it that way. I think I can outrace the Scavenging. Especially when its first trigger does not get a 3-3. Okay. This is silly, but if they had any removal, they would have cast it, so... we just go for that flying damage now. 3-turn kill. Uh-oh, blue source off the top. That's not a good sign. Blue mana can cast flyers. Vampire Soulcaller, it's a flyer, but it sure can't block, so they have to pick up the other flyer to play next turn, which might be just slow enough for us, because we're going to put them to 3 right now. Probably even less, because we just re-equip to Prideful Parent if I don't draw anything relevant. Oh, wow. Yeah, so we're not re-equipping then. Each player's Sax 2 is just not favorable for me right now. So we just make a zombie, right?
The undead make great minions.
I've got an alternate path to victory if we do not find Flying Lethal next turn, but we probably find Flying Lethal. They have to play their flyer and kill my Exemplar of Light. Otherwise, I can just have 2 flying attackers, Exemplar of Light and whatever I equip. And just swing past their Billowing Shriek Mass. And that's not going to be enough. Kill the Exemplar, they take 3 and die.
This is more enjoyable than slaying demons.
Now, Burglar Rat for the lethal. That is 4-0 now, heading into Game 5, still undefeated with this nasty deck. Alright, here we are now for Game 5. This is a really slow hand because it can't trigger any of the raid abilities on the Plunderers, but Plunderers are nice defensive cards, being able to kill any size creature on blocks. The Saver can be pretty good as well. These are decent cards for buying time to get to this Liliana, so I think it is still just a keep. We also have both of our main colors, which is a big deal. Alright, starting off with flyers is not good for me, but our first top deck was great. Burglar Rat. Gonna make our opponent discard a card, and it should be able to attack in and get us the raid trigger here. But yeah, blue-white flyers, this is a scary matchup for us, especially with the hand that we have. None of our flyers are in our hand. We only have the 1 removal spell. And there's the Think Twice to go with the Mischievous Mystic, get them that additional flyer, plus the Healer's Hawk. Could be nightmare scenario real quick here. Clear out a flyer with that. I could Stroke of Mystic the Mischievous Mystic. Or Stroke of Midnight the Mischievous Mystic. Before they cast Think Twice again next turn. But Plunder to set up the draw and have a creature on board for our Felidar Savior is also good. If I Stroke of Midnight right now, it's kind of like I'm killing a 2-1 flyer and turning their 1-1 flyer into a 1-1 on the ground instead. Yeah. I actually think I'm stroking the Mystic. I probably should not have attacked with Burglar Rat there, but clearing out another flyer is still good. We kind of made it a flying blocker. Oh my god. What a curve. Okay. Well, rip then. I guess this is how our opponents feel. Mystic Think Twice Kaikar is our opponent's first 4 turns. They even got to Think Twice plus Healer's Hawk in the same turn. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just lose no matter what. Let's just get the lifelink down to have a tiny chance of buying a little bit of time. I guess we should have plundered, because then we could have killed that. If we plundered, they could still just have Think Twice this turn and still have 4 flying power out. Celestial Armor is not great against all this open mana, so I don't think I just hold it off and try to block with Celestial Armor here. I think we just attack, get the Plunderer raid. Tons can go wrong trying to just do that on blocks. It can get countered, but it can also just get my Savior removal spelled before it resolves. It's also terrible. Yeah. Man. I think we're working towards Liliana here. Oh, it's not fun. Yeah, I guess I forgot Kaikar can spit out more flyers. So Liliana doesn't even help that much because they're going to have like 4 flyers out. Thought we could get in a position where we get this human token off the board at least, and then maybe kill like Kaikar and a Healer's Hawk. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, we have the insane bomb power sealed pool. Our opponent has the just insane bonkers synergy sealed pool. Just exclusively flyers. Like 15 flyers in their color pair. Seems pretty gross. Now show me your trick. Well, at least they didn't have the trick for that. Something. It's something. We're at 7. Now, the consequences of my past choices have caught up with me. I have the Liliana mana, and it doesn't even really matter. It just does not really do much here. I guess if our opponent doesn't find removal for Fel at our Savior, we just block. And if they have sorcery speed removal, they would have killed it by now. If they have instant speed removal, it's the same whether I declare an attack with it or hold it off on blocks.
Warrior Queen Necromancer has a nice ring to it.
Alright, yeah, they just had the instant speed removal. You got me. 4, 5, 6. Go to 1. 1 is not 0, but we just lose. Alright, well, I don't think we made the right Gutless Plunderer choice, but with the cards that they have there, since they had the Runaway together, I don't think it even matters. Because our best play last turn was that Celestial Armor on Savior, like no matter what. And then instead of Liliana this turn, I could play Exemplar of Light or another Felidar Savior, either of which still just die here. Yeah, unless we were prophetic and had Midnight Stroke of Midnight for Kaikar instead of the 2-1. I mean, the 2-1 just does the same thing Kaikar did and just completely kills me, though. Because even if I ended up stroking the Kaikar, I would have taken more flying damage earlier, and then Mystic would have made another flyer from the next thing twice, would have made another flyer off the Helpful Hunter. Nah, I think we really just got curved here. Is what it is. Maybe a slight chance if we were on the play, but that was quite a blowout curve out from our opponent. We are 4-1 heading into game 6. All right, well, no early blockers. Could be a problem. We have a lot of creatures in this deck, though, so there's tons of good draws here. But we really, really, really just want to draw any creatures, any cheap creatures. We already drew our only 5-drop, so any creatures we can draw are 4 mana or less. It's like 15 potential draws in here or something that are really good. I just need to buy the time to play these really strong late game spells. So far, so bad. We have hit an extra land with this pretty slow hand. There's a Healer's Hawk from our opponent, which is scary. Okay, 4 mana creature's not exactly what I wanted to see. But it is a lifelinker, which is really important when we kind of have to drop Phyrexian Arena here. No 3-drop creature? Ooh, Cathar Commando the Arena immediately. Okay, that's honestly not the end of the world. If I had a split card and it was Phyrexian Arena or Murder, I probably would have held it and then cast Murder on Cathar Commando this game, so we can just pretend we did that. Savior, no +1/+1 counters is a little sad, but I have the Soul Caller and Celestial Armor that both really want me to play the Savior. That way, if they don't kill the Savior, I hold up a Celestial Armor to throw onto it in response to something. If they do kill the Savior, then I Soul Caller it. Or I just draw another Savior and do that. Good draw is good. Sarah Angel, hello there. Welcome to the board. Liliana mana, but Liliana's not super good right now. I just cast her and she immediately dies. I guess she's 7 loyalty, so she doesn't immediately die unless they spend a combat trick or something. Yeah, it's not horrible. Let's do this. Yeah. No matter what, I get a 2/2 zombie. I get a 2/2 zombie, gain 6 life, and force them to spend a combat trick. Because the 6 that have been dealt to me is dealt to Liliana instead. Yeah, we're just going to use her as just a big fog that spits out a bunch of 2/2s. Galta's a nightmare, but we do have some outs for Galta if we can draw into them. There's one. I forgot we have a Banishing Light in here. Banishing Light is so good. Well, that makes me pretty happy.
I do quite enjoy necromancy.
Cast an incredible Banishing Light. Oh my god. Jeez. Is that how we're gonna lose? If we lose. Oh, you're gonna GG after the Snakeskin Veil. Alright. We're locked in now. So we're definitely Celestial Armoring on blocks. That means I can't attack here. Now I'm just going to be so tilted if I don't draw like a Stroke of Midnight or something. Do you have another instant speed removal spell here or no? No. Okay. take 13 and maintain as many creatures as possible to try to kill a Galta later. Or I could Soulcaller back a Felidar Savior. That's a little interesting. Plus I draw a card off of its death.
I hope you washed your hands first.
And that digs for Stroke of Midnight. Okay, Dazzling Angel's certainly not nothing. Defends Liliana, if nothing else. Dazzling Angel, Campus Guide, right? Dazzling Angel, Campus Guide Zombie. Good chunk of life gain. Savior up to trade into Sarah Angel. Dazzling Angel to hold Healer's Hawk off. They have to Galta towards Liliana.
Yours will be a fate worse than undeath.
Got enough power to kill Galta here. Lose my whole board, but I draw like 7 cards. Gain 5. They have like a giant growth or something that is game ending. They just win. Yeah, I feel it's probably better to just go for trades where I can than try to just delete Galta himself. Well, draw a lot of cards. Gain 5, take 4. I'm at 19 with a ton of cards. Against just an Angel Colony Healer's Hawk. I just need to find a way to kill Angel at that point. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. Show me the giant growth. Celestial Armor 2? They could have just pre-combated that and it would win the game. God dang, dude, really? Celestial Armor Galta? Oh, this wouldn't be so bad if they didn't preemptive GG me. But I am officially tilted.
You've reached an undead end.
So we stroke Galta, and I Celestial Armor their Sarah Angel away. My Burglar Rat their only card in hand. If I have the mana, 4, 5, 6, I don't. I'm 1 mana off. I can Infestation Sage and still Stroke of Midnight and Celestial Armor. You don't know how tempting it is for me to say oops.
Uncivilized.
But I'm not gonna hit him with the BM. We're winning now. We're in a winning position after all that. Especially Burglar adding their last card. So I don't have to worry about it. It was a snare spinner too? Oh, let's go. They still have a Celestial Armor, but I've got a Fiery Annihilation if I hit a red source. Soul Caller back a Campus Guide? No, I think we just wait for a red source. Do we not? Probably just wait for a red source. I guess I could just outrace them with double Celestial Armor. They Celestial Armor one creature, hit me for like 5. I'm hitting them for 8. Yeah, we just outrace them. Actually, we outrace them even if I don't equip this turn, and I just pick up more power. If I Felidar Savoring up, or Celestial Armoring up a Felidar Savior, that'll be really good. Alright, they're playing off the top. Oh, sure.
How disappointing.
Now, Fiendish Panda as well. They're dying real quick. I'll just do these. I don't think I'm Fiendish Pandaing. You know what? I probably should have armored up the 2/2, because that's harder for them to block. Like blocking with a 1/1 Healer's Hawk if they move the armor elsewhere would work. Okay. They're at 11. I can't kill them here. Well, maybe I can. They block this, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, block this, 9, 10. 1 damage off, no way to deal 1 more damage. Okay. Just Plunderer plus Panda then. Panda better than having a flying blocker? Actually, probably not. Fight down, plus gain 3 on the attack, puts them to 9. In which case they die on the crackback still. Oh, I didn't say good game. I should have at least said good game when I cast the Fiery Annihilation. All right, I'm going to be honest there. Things were super rocky that whole game. There was one pretty big misplay as well. I don't think the Galta super block was a misplay, because again, if they did have the giant growth style combat trick, we do still draw a million, which could draw us into removal for it. The fact that it did end up being the Celestial Armor was pretty brutal, but obviously we still, because we drew so many cards, could make that up. Over time, I think the one big misplay and I didn't even mention it because at that point I was just locked in and I didn't want to jinx myself, was when I let them counterattack kill Liliana with their 3/1 flyer, just poke Liliana for 3, because I wanted to just get damage in, and because I knew I have enough flying power on board already to just outrace, so I'm like, all right, just send all the flying in and we can outrace, but it's like, yeah, but then I don't have any flying blockers to protect Liliana. So it probably would have been better to play an even longer game here and move this armor um, onto just something that's good at blocking the healer's hawk and just protect Liliana so we can keep spitting out the 2/2 zombies turn over turn. That would have been better than just immediately trying to race, but the initial assessment that I had that we are winning the race on board was correct. We did win the race over time, but it was riskier than keeping Liliana and keeping 2/2 zombies spitting out and buying time. So that was sketchy, but that wasn't even the final boss, but it felt like a final boss. That was an insanely explosive game on both ends. A Galta with Celestial Armor on it is one of the grossest things I've seen in the format. But the deck that we opened up is also one of the grossest things that I've seen in the format, so we managed to just draw a million cards off Liliana and still grind that game out, especially because we drew the second copy of Celestial Armor. Wild, wild game of Magic, and we are now 5-1, guaranteeing the maximum prize out in terms of gems here. We're getting 6,000 gems no matter what, but if we can win just one more game, then y'all are going to see me play in the Qualifier Weekend next weekend as well. So fingers crossed here as we head into the legitimate final boss, the final game of Magic this time around, win or lose. All right, here we are for the final battle. This cannot be a keep. We have an early double black spell, a 1-drop black spell, another double black spell, and no swamps. Yeah, that is not keepable. Oh no, this isn't keepable either. 2 black spells, one of which requires double black, a red spell, and only planes again. Gonna have to be a mold of 5 on the play. I mean, I can ditch a Fiery Annihilation, then it's 2 plain Celestial Armor, Stroke of Midnight, Fiendish Panda, Bloodthirsty, but this armor has no creatures to put it on. We have no black source. It's just a double mole. Okay, the hand is these. Oh man, I gotta get rid of both of those to have 3 lands towards Conqueror. It's just better to do this. Man. Alright. Well, if we lose this game, we know how we're losing. Multi 5 on the play is our start. So we are far behind in cards, and they have turn 1 Llanowar Elves in the 7-card opener. Phyrexian Arena could help us out on a multi 5, but it could also hurt us a lot, the damage it deals, especially against a Gruul deck with turn 1 Llanowar Elves. They're going to get some large creatures out quick. Yeah, Dwynen's Elite for multiple elves already. Kind of got a Phyrexian Arena here. I don't got much of a choice. We're so low on cards. This Bloodthirsty Conqueror is going to have to stick around and make up for the life loss, preferably. Okay. Burglar Rat's never trading better than a 1/1. I guess it could kill a 3/1 if they're running the 2-mana 3/1, but most creatures in the color pair, the Rat's not going to do anything about. Give me anything castable. Anything castable. Okay, Exemplar, you are going to go right under the bus here. Well, maybe not. It would be painful to take all this damage, but if they have literally no removal, then if I keep it around, it is Conqueror life gain, which triggers it and draws me another card. Okay, they do have removal, so it's just going under the bus. Hopefully not multiple removal spells in that 7-card opener from our opponent. Vanguard something. Felidar Savior certainly something. I do not think I can afford to do anything other than Bloodthirsty Conqueror. because it's the only creature I can cast where if they don't have removal, I'm completely stable. You know what? I actually can play Seraph. Right, because then if they do have removal, they just kill the Seraph, which would have killed the Conqueror anyway. Oh, unless it's specifically Bite Down. Shoot. So Conqueror could have at least traded into one of their creatures and pulled the Bite Down out of here, but Conqueror would have died anyway, which is still losing. Three life is not enough, unless I hit another land to have Banishing Light and Dazzling Angel. That is dead. No matter what. What can you do, man? Oh, that's such a sad ending. Yeah, no play lives. I can Conqueror. Take 3. Felidar Savior. Block. Take 3. I guess Felidar Savior? If they have nothing. Because the Chump gains 2, which puts me at 5, taking 3, which puts me to 2, going to 1 off of Arena. But I mean, there's no coming back after that. And they still have another instant? Must be Burst Lightning if they're not casting it here. Yeah, Burst Lightning or Giant Growth. Gnarled Colony for Trample kills me too. Wow. Gross. Yeah, do this. I'm at 5, I take 5. Do this. I'm at 5, I take 4, die to Arena. Alright. Super strong, aggressive 7-card opener against the Mole to 5. Forced Keep. Phyrexian Arena hand against the aggressive opener. Literally nothing we could do about that one. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you're going to open an insanely powerful sealed pool and get a lot of free wins. There was nothing a lot of our opponents could have done there, so a bit of a taste of our own medicine on that one. But still hurts. Get that close to the qualifier weekend and just fall short due to some forced mulligans, some real bad draws there. Well, 5-1, still an excellent record. Still think this sealed pool was insane, and I am quite happy with the deck that we ended up building here. I think this is pretty much the strongest build of the sealed pool. Just get that maximum power into the deck and maximum interaction, thanks to the Campus Guide, Bloodfell Caves, Fiery Annihilation, Splash. Arena won us a lot of games. It did hinder us a little bit in that last game, but if we didn't have Arena, we would have just gotten completely crushed because we were so far down on cards anyway that I don't think Arena was like a huge part of our last loss. I think, honestly, it was giving us a tiny bit higher of a chance of winning that, even though we were against an aggressive deck. So yeah, I don't know. Happy with everything here. Happy with how I built and played overall. I do not think there was anything I could do in the 2 losses, but maybe I missed something. If so, as always, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below if you noticed something that might have been able to win the game. Although do keep in mind with it, try not to do things that are like huge hindsight things where it's like, well, you know, if your opponent has exactly this card, then this is the right play, but the other 99% of the time it's the wrong play. Something where, like, with the information we had at the time, there was a better play. I would be very interested in hearing about. But I don't think there was. Maybe I'm just blindsided here. Maybe we could have won the first loss. The second loss, I'm almost 100% sure there was absolutely nothing we could do. But it's been long enough since the first loss. Maybe I'm forgetting a pivotal turn somewhere in there. All right, at least we won the matchup against the preemptive GG Galta Celestial Armor opponent. At least we won that one. And got huge prize out here at 6,000 gems from the events. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.